when you find yourself feeling victimized, or you're angry and you really want to take it out on somebody, is to just recenter and think about being a co-creator of your own life story, your own business story, and where you want to be.
Hey law firm owners, and welcome to another video from Cardigan Marketing. My name is Ashley. I'm the CEO and founder of Cardigan Marketing. And in our videos on our YouTube channel, everything we do is to help you, the law firm owner. And today is absolutely no different. I am so excited to talk to Sheila Manely from the Manely firm. The Manely firm is based in Atlanta, Georgia. And Sheila and her husband, Michael, have grown their firm to now almost 7 locations. They're about to open up their 7th location, international location. So if you are a law firm owner and you are looking to grow into multiple locations, you're absolutely going to find value in today's conversation with Sheila as we discuss things she would have done differently, I think great decisions along the way, or things she might have changed. So I hope you find value in today's conversation with Sheila from the Manely Law Firm based in Atlanta, Georgia. All right, Sheila, thanks for joining me today. It's good to see you.
It's good to be here.
Yeah, so tell everyone who's watching who you are, what you do, and why does it matter?
Super. I am Sheila Manely, and I'm the COO for the Manely Firm PC. We do all family law all around the world. I've recently had a title change. It was business manager for years. And then we kind of realized, basically I'm the COO, so we made that switch fairly recently. But I've basically been doing the same thing since I joined my husband and founding partner Michael Manely's firm in 2003.
In 2003. Okay, so when did he start the firm?
So the Manely Firm PC was incorporated in 2003. Prior to that, Michael was a sole practitioner. And he did general practice work. We call it, anything that walks through the door. But in 2003, we started considering, it's a little more of a personal story than that. I became Michael's wife. Our son, who is now 21 years old, was born. And he was in court, and I was traveling around the country, and we were like, oh, who's going to raise this baby? And so I had come from a marketing background. I'd been a vice president for marketing kind of during the emergence of the digital age and digital advertising. People were just getting, websites. 2003, it was still in the .com boom a little bit. And so we thought, those skills would probably transfer pretty nicely to building his law firm. And so I left my career and joined Michael's firm, and we've loved that. We went from having competing careers, kind of competing for family time together, to pulling in the same direction.
That's
That's
so interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah, both in terms of as a family and with our professional careers. And so it really created a lot of synergy for us.
So that's so interesting. I mean, I don't know. I don't think you hear too many husband and wives who are leading the charge in the ways that you and Michael are. Like you as a client, I see you and the folks who help you the most, and you're such an integral role in the firm. You don't see that a lot. Go ahead.
Yeah, we learned early on that we do well at parallel play. And so I took the business side and he took the legal side. Now, as a sole practitioner, that completely freed him up to focus on his practice, right, and the law. And, a lot of the distractions of running a business, it got that completely off his plate. So it was a win-win. I got to do what I loved, which is administrative. I love business building. We both have entrepreneurial spirits, so that worked out. And he is a brilliant attorney. And so that freed him up to do the things at which he is just, quite frankly, very, very good. Amazing.
Well, I would say you're pretty amazing at what you do as well. And for those who are just listening, the surprise here is that the Manely firm is about to open their 7th office location. So I
Right.
would say of successful firms, you guys are the 1% of the 1%. You've made it this far. Right. So I want to talk a lot about today about that transition of going from one location to 2, because that is a conversation I have a lot with law firm owners of, I want to open that 2nd location, but actually I am clueless.
Yeah,
So tell us what that transition, maybe let's start from the 1st location to the 2nd location. How
sure.
difficult was that?
Um, we're in a different environment today than we were then, because that happened fairly early, maybe around 2005. Michael had done a lot of work in Gwinnett County, and there was a judge over there who would pick up the phone and kind of call him when he had folks who needed good representation but were having trouble finding an attorney. And so I think early on in your career, you do, some low bono and some pro bono work in order to build relationships and get your name out there. And so he had to travel about 30 miles to get to that Gwinnett County office, and he was having to go over quite frequently. And we thought, well, let's just put down roots there and open space. And so that was one of our early 2nd locations. And it was because it was so far away and he was burning a lot of time going back and forth. And if we could just have staff there and be there regularly. We didn't have virtual practices then, right? And so I think based on practice area and the opportunity to work virtually, today's newer law firms or those who are considering whether to go to that 2nd location should really consider whether it's advantageous. Now, saying that, we continue to open multiple locations. And so what we found for us is that in the practice of family law, being in relationship and in community with the judiciary and the clerks is still advantageous. Being in the business chamber, being in the service leadership organizations, being a part of the community, getting to know the culture and the proclivities of the judges, it still matters for us. We sometimes say that family law is part law, it's half law and half politics, little p, because you build trust and you build reputation. And a lot hinges on, again, the judiciary, the clerks. It depends on those relationships. Like most businesses, businesses don't do business with other businesses. People do business with people. So I'm certainly not saying it's corrupt. That's not the case. It's just that if you know who to call and if they recognize your name and if you see them at the regular bar meetings or at the chamber meetings, you're just more likely to be able to get things done. So we still open locations. The other advantage is that if you need brick and mortar, even if you have people working hybrid situations where they're at home half the time and in half the time, it really becomes 6 of one or half a dozen of another if you're going to have it one big office in one county or multiple offices in multiple locations. If you need the brick and mortar and there are advantages to spreading it out, we've realized some of those advantages. It's only then that you can also begin to take advantage of some of the advertising opportunities that are not county specific or city specific, but that are regional. And so, and so there were some marketing efficiencies that we struck by being able to advertise statewide instead of citywide or countywide. And so, so those things factor in. What's your practice area? Do you need to get close to your client base physically? Do you need to be close to your courthouse or in community? Is it the type of law where that is a factor? What are the costs to having one center versus multiple centers? What are the advantages of being geographically dispersed, in a state or in a region or in the world?
Right. So, you and I are from the same part of the world. I'm from Alabama. You're in Georgia.
Yes.
How do you all determine the different pockets of Georgia you're in now? How have you determined that's a place? What is the first indicator of, oh, that might need to be an office?
Yeah.
What are those things that go off in your mind?
Some of it is, it's primarily data driven. We look at population centers and how busy, the courthouses are with our particular practice area, how many cases are getting filed in that particular area in family law. We also do estate planning and probate. It's a little different between the two. For instance, along the Georgia coast, they do more probate work than anywhere else in Georgia. But that's because there are so many second homes that have to be resolved along the coast. And so a little bit of it is art. We're not only looking for the volume, we're also looking for our particular avatar and our specific client. We've been in business now for 30 years. I mentioned that my husband and our founding partner is an amazing attorney. He has won at the U.S. Supreme Court level unanimously in an international family law case, and that certainly established his reputation as being a leader in that particular practice niche. And so not only are we looking for clients who can afford the level of service that we offer, but also for an international community. Is there international business centers there? Are there individuals in that community, that are likely to have international family interests, concerns, or conflict that they would turn to us for resolution?
That's such an interesting. There's so many different thoughts that have to go into that. You've laid out so beautifully how you've determined those locations, and it's a lot of data. I love that you said it's a little bit of an art.
It is,
because it also seems like some of it is just an intuitive inkling that you might have. Are you also looking at the competition in that city before? Is that part of? Sounds like you have an equation when you go into a city. Are you also looking at competition?
We do consider, who else is there, but not really. There is, for one thing, in family law, right, 50% of the market's available to you. You just can't represent both sides.
Right.
And I don't know of any market where any family law practice has a corner on the market. I mean, if that's the reason you wouldn't go into a small community
Sure.
where there's just not enough volume to support a number of different attorneys or family law practices. And so, but if you're looking at more major metropolitan areas, you're not only competing against some of the other, major competitors, you're really competing against sole proprietors. Because in family law, so many people will also, turn to the sole practitioner or the small boutique firm. And so we're a larger firm with 16 attorneys. And so it is what you're really beginning to do is you're not taking business away from the other larger firms that advertise on a more sophisticated level and that target their avatar and the same particular avatar we're looking for. What you really begin to do is to take clients that might otherwise go to a sole practitioner or a smaller firm. But if you're good at getting your message out and how you distinguish yourself, they will gravitate toward you. So
Yeah.
we don't really worry too much about, what
Right.
competition is. So we just feel like there's plenty of opportunity for us in the major metropolitan areas.
Right. I think that'll shock people. I hear a lot of, again, I'm having these conversations with lawyers and they're talking a lot about, can you help me do competitor analysis? And I completely agree with you of you're looking in the wrong corner. You are absolutely looking in the wrong corner. You need to be looking on the law side of things. Like you said, what is the population? How many filings are made in that county? So I think that'll be such an insightful tip for those who are
Yeah,
looking
there
to
are
do
so
that.
many places from which, to kind of reach that avatar and take that clientele, that I just don't, I haven't seen a market that's saturated yet.
Right. Right. So you've hinted around about the international office. I think this will be so intriguing to our audience here. Why? How? If? When? That's kind of seems like such a daunting thing. So you all or we're in the middle of building you now a website for your UK based office. So tell us, how did you get in London?
Right. Well, I mentioned, again, our founding partner, Michael Manely's unanimous win for the U.S. Supreme Court. And he had done a couple of international family law cases before that and has developed a reputation in international family law. There are only a couple of others who do solely international family law. We've had cases on every continent. We've built a network now over the last 20 years of partners in all areas of the world where we've had cases. We've shared clients, referred clients to them. They've referred clients to us. But one of the things we've learned is that we lose control of our clients' experience when we're working with a partner in another country. We've had better experiences with some than others, but one of our core values is that we execute strategically. And if you don't have control of the strategy on, I'm going to say, both sides of the pond, what you get, and you don't have, control over the other attorney, what begins or can happen is that decisions will be made, testimony will, get into the record, actions will be taken by your client under the advice of one attorney that can hinder their success in your own jurisdiction, within the United States. And in family law cases, that often happens where you've got judicial proceedings in multiple countries, and and we've had them both in multiple countries and multiple states at the same time. And so one of the things that we often get called in to do is to coordinate those efforts across the different jurisdictions. Well, all of that is to say, we're looking internationally where there are larger expat communities that will have international concerns and issues. UK has always been major source for clients and referrals. And we would like to be in the position to exercise more control over their experience when we have cases pending in both jurisdictions.
Your customer service journey is so important that you chose to open an office in another country so you can control the entire loop of that customer's journey with your firm.
Absolutely. Our core values, are that we lead with care. We deliver excellence. We execute strategically. We celebrate diversity. We embrace growth. That's our firm's core values. But that leading with care and executing strategically and delivering with excellence means that you kind of can't let half of the process when you're, working on two continents be so far out of your influence. And like I said, with many attorneys that we partner with, we have a lot more influence, but it not always.
Yeah.
So that client experience is very important to us, and we want to give them that level of service. even when we're working in the courts in the UK or mediating in the UK, and, maybe they have a home or a Hague action that might also have implications here in the United States.
That is practicing what you preach. Yes, our customer service journey is important, but let me show you how important it is. We're going to tackle this, which was probably a very difficult task of opening up an international office, but we're going to tackle that because that's how important our customer journey is. I think that speaks volumes of you, again, your business mind, you and Michael, your vision for the firm. What would you do, Sheila? You're now taking a step back. You're at 30 years. What has been something that you've said, that one thing that we did or we've done consistently has proven tremendous value over the years? And it's been such a positive or successful thing. And then on the opposite side, what is one thing you would say, I would do that differently? Both sides of the coin.
Well, in terms of positive, I will tell you that, Michael and I have a blended family, and 20 plus years ago, when we were developing the firm and the firm culture, we were also working through how do you, in then the wake of divorce, do family as well as you can possibly do family. And so we were reading everything we could get our hands on, including Constance Aaron's The Good Divorce, in order to figure out how to be good parents to our children. We both brought our own boys into the family, and we have a third boy, 3 beautiful sons together, and they are great brothers, and they have blended beautifully. And so a very strong family, and I'm incredibly proud of them. That's at the heart of how we built our family law firm. It was on a lot of the concepts of Constance Aaron's The Good Divorce, and subsequent, research and reading about adverse childhood experiences, how to avoid them, how to build resiliency in children, and how to have the best experience that you can have, even when you're transitioning a family from a nuclear family to a binuclear family. And so that created, kind of our firm philosophy and the way we went about delivering service. Now, the challenge is growing and getting that out of your heart and your head and into the culture of your organization. So that's our origin story. I would say for other firm owners, what is your origin story? What is your passion for the area of practice where you serve? And how do you hold on to that such that it is the wind in your sails? It is what gives you the energy and the desire to get up every morning and to do what you do. And then how do you get it out of your head and heart and into the operations of your business?
Well spoken. So it's the thing that you come back to. I love that you said the origin story. It's what you come back to, and every decision revolves around that. Is that fair to say?
That's right. It's the what you should do. I mentioned our core values. That's been consistent. Now, we didn't always use these exact words. I kind of told you how we started, but the leading with care has always been there. Executing strategically, that happens to be one of Michael's superpowers in family law. And for most attorneys, because they see the same types of cases over and over and over again, they see what their clients can't. And so they can execute strategically. They've got that advantage. For us, we wanted to give our clients that strategic advantage. And so really honing in on core values, hanging on to those, and weaving them into the fabric of the business, such that that language, those values are in your policies and procedures. They get captured so that, that's the way, or recorded in training videos, built into your training, part of your onboarding, part of screening the employees that you bring in to see if they have those same values or have demonstrated them historically. Those are the things that you do to weave them into the fabric of your business.
So what is something you would do differently?
I would have grown up a lot faster emotionally. I would have
Okay.
matured. I would have matured. And let me tell you how I could have done that, how I could have accelerated that. I would have gotten business coaching and entrepreneurial coaching much sooner. We kind of hit a plateau and we could not grow beyond it. And it was because I had tapped out and Michael had tapped out the hours in the day, what we had learned up until that point. We kind of sat there for 3 years. I, wish that in 2003, I had started, and I did to some extent. I turned to the state bar. I did draw on the resources of their law firm management program and books. But, professional athletes get coaches and they keep coaches. And I wished I had recognized sooner how important it was to have a business coach or consulting firm that could have been just a resource and could have accelerated our growth. So that's on a business level. On a personal level, I really do mean I wish I had grown up a little faster. There is a level of emotional maturity and leadership skill that I have today that I absolutely did not have 10 years ago. And sometimes I look back at being I'll use the term an accidental diminisher, where you squash people around you because you have such drive and you're pushing for perfection and you want the success so much. And I just didn't have the skill set that I have today. And that's been through business coaching and consulting and intentional emotional maturity and growth. I would have acquired that much sooner.
What is the best leadership book? This is a question I did not have planned, but
I'll take it.
You are where I want to see myself. And just, what are we, about 5 years apart from each other in age, right?
Please.
Right.
You're kind.
Right. So I'm constantly reading these leadership books, right? What is one that you would say, one or two that you're like, Ashley, you have to read it?
The best one I've read, and it's really, the business is 3VQ, but the foundational book is The Empowerment Dynamic, TED Asterisk by David Emerald. And that's what I mean about emotional maturity. It switches your paradigm from being in a state of drama or a victim mindset where, and we see this story all the time, you're the victim, there's the persecutor, and there's the rescuer. And it was incredibly powerful for me because it's what we see play out in the family drama for the clients that we work to serve. And it switches that to taking each role and asking what's the opposite. So instead of being a victim, the opposite is to be a creator. And instead of being a persecutor, the opposite is to being a challenger. And instead of being a rescuer, the opposite is to be a coach. And so one of the best, and you have to practice it and you have to ask for it, but is to, when you find yourself feeling victimized or, you're angry and you really want to take it out on somebody, is to just recenter and think about being a co-creator of your own life story, your own business story, and where you want to be. And you focus on the outcome. You get out of that, they call it the dreaded drama triangle. And, you get into a create, challenge, and coach mode instead. And that's been incredibly powerful for me. And it's also the knowledge that we now work to share with our clients.
What does the next step and stage for the Manely firm look like? Maybe the next 5 years. What does the future look like?
Continued international expansion. and continued expansion into probably neighboring states initially. We really believe in the positive difference we make in the lives of the clients that we serve. We don't want them to get anybody else involved in their divorce. We believe we are change agents for good in their lives, and the more people we can impact and help usher through family conflict in a positive way, the more good we're doing in the world. And so we will continue to grow. Our challenge now is how to scale at the level that we want to scale. How do we develop policies, procedures, process, conquer the learning curve at the rate that we want to grow? And so those are our challenges. And if we are successful, then we'll continue to expand.
There's one thing I do not doubt, and it is the success of the Manely firm. As long as you and Michael are leading it, again, you've built a wonderful team who we deal with on a daily basis. So you've done something right, Sheila. Thank you so much for your time. For those wanting to find out more about you and the firm, where do they go?
www.allfamilylaw.com is our URL. And there's lots of great information there about the types of law that we practice, our philosophy, and also employment opportunities.
Cool. Sheila, thank you again. And if you're watching this, if you're a law firm owner who are looking to grow, we would love to help you at Green Cardigan Marketing. But thank you for watching this video, and we will see you in the next interview video.
Thank you.